And welcome to another great episode of Real Talk. Today, we bring a thought leader of wisdom and someone in the industry, 40 plus years experience, electronics industry, who's really evolved and brought distribution, representatives, and manufacturers together. Walter Tobin, the CEO of Electronic Representative Association.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you. I'm
No,
really delighted to be here. So thanks for having me on your series. I'm really very honored to be here. Thank you.
No, I mean, first of all, thank you. There's a lot I want to cover, but first I want to say my gratitude to you. Thank you for, come with open arms. I guess, it's been such a short time. Felt like we've known each other for years now, but it's only been 7 months. A lot has happened since 7 months since we saw each other in Austin at the conference, at the ERA conference. And that's the first time we got to interview you, but you've been so welcoming. You've brought IBS Electronics and my team welcoming to the ERA Association and let us be involved and got me involved in the board and everything you do, having forward thinking, having insights, bringing in things. And I really was inspired and I'm like, this is great. So my hat's off, my gratitude to you and your whole team and the fantastic job you did with that event, which really changed my outlook and changed our whole outlook of what we're doing moving forward in the last 6-7 months.
Good. Thank you. It was a lot of hard work for the conference and it seems like a lifetime ago since the world changed in early March, really 3 or 4 weeks after the conference. So, but it really has been great to get to know you and certainly get to know more about IBS and your great organization.
No, thank you. As I said, I want to cover a lot, but I just want to start from the origins and
Sure.
the beginning of everything, of how who was Walter Tobin, and how did you begin your career in electronics?
So I went to Boston College, got commissioned as a officer and through ROTC in my senior year, and delayed active duty for 2 years to get my MBA at BC, and then went on active duty for a couple of years in the Army, and then get out of the service and answered an ad for a product manager's job at a distributor in the Boston area. I grew up in Boston, live in Boston today. And answered to that for a product manager. I didn't know anything about electronics. I didn't know anything about product management. And I did that for a year. And the boss I was working for said, hey, we'd like you to go into sales. And I said, I don't want to be a salesperson. I'm not good at it. I've never done it. No, it's a different kind of sell. So I went on the road as an outside salesperson for a distributor, selling products that I didn't know what they did, selling them to customers that used them. In many cases, the buyers didn't know what they did. So here we have a salesperson not knowing the product, selling to a buyer who didn't know the product, and it kind of all worked. And then became a sales manager and a general manager and a regional vice president and area vice president, and eventually worked up to the C-level at different distributors. So I was in distribution my entire career, up until joining ERA as the CEO 5 years ago this month.
Oh wow!
So it's been a great ride. But my DNA has always been as a distributor, and yet I think that background allowed me to sort of connect the dots between the distributors. I worked with manufacturers reps my whole career, some better than others. I wasn't perfect at doing all of that, but yet and certainly worked on behalf of the manufacturers. I ended up co-running a distributor. Myself and this other person were 2-in-a-box president. So I've run sales and marketing. I've run corporate roles. And so I sort of figured out how all the pieces work or should work. So it's really been a great ride, but I sort of fell into the industry by accident, answering an ad as a young captain coming out of the Army for a product manager's job.
That's so fascinating. And I think your curiosity probably coming out into the first job, figuring out just like you said, what is the product I'm selling? What's it going into? What does it really do? And that curiosity is taking you to today. So through this process in the past 40 plus years, Who was, who do you look up to? What was the mentor leadership that you looked up to really become, the inspiration of who you are today? What was your direction, your mentor?
Well, it's a great question. When you're a salesperson, to be tapped as that first sales manager's job, I was working for a fellow by the name of Tim Cronin, and he gave me my first sales manager's job to manage other salespeople. I did that for a couple of years, and then there was a fellow by the name of Tony DeLise, who was the area vice president for this company that was first bought by Arrow, and he gave me my first general manager stripes back in 1980, just about a month before the Arrow fire, December 4th, 1980. And so you always remember those people that sort of took a chance on you. Gave you that first responsibility. I was an untested, untried general manager. He took a chance on me, and I'll be forever beholden to both Tim and Tony for taking that chance, and try to, over my career, take chances on other people, to give them direction, to do your best, to make your best shot, and make the best decision. And it's been a great, rewarding career to see other people that I've given chances to thrive and grow and do well. One of the people is Mike Long. Mike Long is today the CEO of Arrow. Mike had the pleasure of working for me back in the late '80s in Minneapolis. So I'll take full credit for Mike becoming the CEO of Arrow at the direction that he got from the short time that he and I worked together back when the earth was cooling. So, but it's been great career and great ride to allow me to do for others and do for others what people did for me, and that is take a chance on me.
You know what I can say is I have a little bit of experience with that, because you kind of took us a chance on us and opened things up for myself and my team, and
Sure.
also put me a part of ERA to give us a chance, me to be part of the committee for the show. These are things that you're open to. You're forward thinker. You think forward. You think of a visionary. Looking at, you just, as you said, you want to bring in the younger generation, bring in more influence, right, and bring in that little creativity and the change, because the market, the world is changing fast. Technology is changing just like us. We're having a conversation over a digital platform right now, because sure, during the current situation, the pandemic, we can't meet up in person. So these are a lot of things that's happening, and I'm so happy that you're open to all the change. You're open to take a chance on it, and open to take a chance on everything. So it really stems back from your origins, how you came, and the mentor you put, and to give opportunity to everybody. But overall, I want to take a step back and just look at it over the last, I would say, 40 years in the electronics industry. What have you seen everything evolve? The industry has evolved over the years. What's your partake, and how have you seen that the distributor, manufacturer, and rep relationships evolved?
Well, back in the day when I started, there were hundreds of distributors. Distributors it was before the invention of the PC, before a lot of the automation and computers. Things were done on manual systems. The Cardex system, you'll hear people refer to that with that Avnet used. Everything was manually done. And so the distributors were all locally based or regionally based. So there were very few nationwide distributors. And then what happened is in the 80s, as Arrow really was the catalyst that saw the tipping point, Arrow began to acquire distribution companies. The company I worked for, a company called Kramer in Boston, was the first company Arrow bought in 1978, 1979. So you saw the tremendous consolidation of distribution, primarily being driven by Arrow and Avnet. So when you had a distributor, you had a back then franchise in Boston, but you didn't have that franchise in Connecticut. You may have had Connecticut, but you didn't have Philadelphia. You had to go earn your way to get the franchise in other parts of the world, other parts of the U.S. So what the distributors did was they bought companies that already had the franchise. So there was this Pac-Man effect, primarily being instigated by Arrow, soon to then be followed by Avnet, as they continue to acquire companies. So in distribution, there's been a tremendous consolidation of distributors. I tell people when I started, there were 10 distributors in the top 10. Now there's like 4, as being a little cute. When you get to the top 10, you get way down to companies that might be $20-30 million in revenue. And I won't bore you with all the names, but it was really the acquisition, the consolidation of the channel that drove to the industry where it is today. And I think that will continue a little bit. I think you'll still see some additional consolidation in distribution worldwide.
Yeah, so
Would
that
be my sense.
the globalization, I think you're 100% correct. As the internet came to about in the mid 90s, late 90s, that I think has changed the world. Everybody started, the world got much smaller, as we know, everything got smaller, and the big players, distributors in the top five, the big five, they started acquiring other distribution in other countries, and they're getting the growth and building, acquiring, getting footholds of footprints. And as you're correct, I mean, the top 4 or 5 distributors really rule 80% probably of the supply chain world. And then that 20%, I mean, it's $1 trillion. I mean, as we know, the electronic industry is growing over year because everything's electronics, but it's getting bigger and bigger. But there is that 20-30% of share still for smaller distributors is a large chunk that they're not getting for different types of products and things. But yeah, you're right. Everything has gotten smaller, and technology's changed the world and moving forward. So now that takes me to Electronic Representatives Association, ERA. So what is ERA, and what is its mission?
Well, so ERA, by its title, Electronic Representative Association, was founded about 80 years ago as a not-for-profit trade association for reps. And back in the day, they had a trust. They provided insurance to manufacturers' reps. So people that had a rep company, they're generally small, 2, 3, 4 people companies. They provided discounted auto insurance, health insurance, liability insurance, and it really helped spur the growth of people joining ERA. Some people perhaps joined ERA just to get the insurance and didn't care about the chapter meetings and didn't care about whatever, but they got the insurance. Well, the laws changed about 15 years ago that did away with the ability for not-for-profit associations to sell group insurance across state lines. And I won't get into all the laws, I'm not a lawyer, but the law changed. And when that changed, a lot of the reason that reps were members of ERA, they left. And so ERA went through a period of trying to reinvent themselves and try to show its members the value that we bring, not just the insurance. So a rep, as you know, is like a distributor. You're only as good as the lines that you have. So ERA, the next phase is not just having reps as members. They reached out for the manufacturers. It was a natural transition to have manufacturers join the association, to have the rep and the manufacturer working close together to make sure they're delivering a good value to the manufacturer and to the end customer. And that was good till about 2014, when ERA then reached out and added the channel. It was sort of the missing piece. As you know, being a distributor, most of the products that the reps sell in our industry, the electronic component industry, they take very few orders direct. Most of the business goes through the channel. The reps get paid a commission on POS of what goes through the channel. So it's important that the reps and the distributors play nice together in the field to support the manufacturer up here that has decided we're going to have a rep strategy and a channel strategy. So those 3 legs on the stool, as we call it, work together to service the end customer. So we talk a lot about the end customer at ERA, because without the end customer, we have nothing. But those 3 legs on the stool really have to work closely together. And that hasn't always been the case. Reps will say, I don't want to work with the channel because I'm a rep for ABX capacitors, and I work with a distributor, and they have ABX and they have Kemet. So why would I want to work with the distributor? They have a competitor. Well, it's a good point. But the distributor is doing all the supply chain. You want to make sure you have a strong alliance with the distributor and make sure that you have a deal that, hey, in this particular customer, we're working together to sell ABX capacitors. And you sort of work through that trust, that minefield that you navigate, to know that if I'm working with you, Rob, I'm going to trust you, and I know that you're never going to try to go sell Kemet to the customer. Because if you do and you burn me, then you're burned forever. It's kind of the unwritten rule of what you do. So that's been the evolution of ERA. That today we end up with over 600 members. We have about 450, 475 reps. We have about 25, 26, 27 distributors, and we have about 150 manufacturers that make up the membership of ERA. We have some recognized resources, the companies that provide services that we have on our website. But we're about 600 members, and actually, during COVID, we've grown membership.
Wow.
As people have begun to see the value of what we bring through some of the initiatives, the water cooler and the podcast, they've really begun to see, hey, we really need an association like ERA, because a lot of them are small companies. And when COVID hit, they really didn't know what to do. So we pivoted and started these water cooler calls to let people know they're not alone. Let members hear from other people, frankly, some of their competitors, on what they're doing to survive COVID, and some of the training and some of the advice we're giving people on how to make sure that you're staying relevant, so that when you come out of this, we can not only survive, but you can thrive after COVID. So that's sort of how ERA is today. We've evolved. But again, we focus on the 21 chapters. We focus on the relationship between the chapters, the rep members and the chapters, and the distributor branches working together to make sure that AVX is happy and the three of us go work and sell to the customer.
Well, I think you just nailed it right there. And that's my experience of what I've seen you guys do, especially the last 6-7 months. I've been much more involved. You're 100% correct. You guys, I mean, I'm very impressed, Walter, with your vision, and you really push forward with your team to keep everybody connected. The water coolers, that you get through all of it. Then you how to change to virtual, how to use Microsoft Teams. You had Microsoft Teams little webinars. You had things also when you get into the SBA and the PPP. You brought a lot of resources to all the reps, manufacturers, just to give them more awareness. Because of course, people always need someone to give them some guidance or understanding, and they don't know where to look. But as a association, you guys really dug in. Got awareness, got professionals, teamed up with other people out there to give them a platform that they can really take their business and survive through this change, this pandemic, and the change of how we work with selling, how we sell virtually, how we communicate, how we do our businesses in the back and the front end. So I say thank you. You guys, as I said, I've been involved, and you've done an excellent job through the electronics industry. It's a big industry, but it's very small. Everybody knows each other, as we all know. So it's been great.
It's interesting you mentioned the SBLC. So we're members of an organization called SBLC, the Small Business Legislative Council. We're not big enough to have a lobbying group in Washington. So we sort of joined with a couple of hundred other not-for-profit trade associations. And as soon as the pandemic hit, and as soon as the PPP came through the CARES Act, none of us knew anything about it. And we got great counsel from the SBLC that we sent out to all of our members. They get the bulletins, so we help people with how to apply, how to calculate it, and because none of us knew any of that, and we're very proud of being a member of that association. But we were also able to provide some guidance to our members that are, most cases, small companies. So we're very proud of the assistance that we're able to give them. So thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for all of it. So now, I mean, that we got the picture of exactly what ERA and its purpose and mission. What are the types of memberships and programs that you want to start with the program? What are memberships? Is it one single membership? Is it multiple different memberships? How does that work?
So we have 3 different classes of membership. We have certainly the rep members. When a rep decides to join ERA, if they're a rep in Ohio, they would join the Ohio chapter. The strength of ERA is in the chapters. It's in the field, the boots on the ground. They also then become a member of ERA National. There's a dual dues structure that they enter. So we have reps, and the dues are based on the size of the company. We decided that a smaller company should pay less dues than a bigger company. So the smaller reps pay proportionate dues, and it's all based on the number of full-time employees. It's all on the website. Sometimes you need a degree in Boolean algebra to figure out how much dues you're going to have to pay. But we really try to be very fair to our smaller rep members. The manufacturers join. We have a single price for manufacturers that join. It's a very good value. And again, manufacturer gets out of being a member of ERA to make sure that their regional people are aligned with the branches in the field, the distributor branches that they have. And there's a big benefit, certainly, and also the reps that they have to make sure that the reps are in line with whatever message they're trying to get out. We added distribution, so we have really 5 tiers of distribution. If you're a distributor with a single location, then there's still, as you said earlier, there's a lot of those distributors out there that are providing excellent value to their customers and to their manufacturers. The single location distributor, we then have a class that's if you have more than one location, if you are a regional distributor, if you're a multi-regional distributor, and then if you are a North American distributor, which usually means worldwide, the due structure goes up. The bigger you are, the more that people pay. So the 3 membership categories are reps, distributors, and manufacturers. We also allow people called recognized resources that we have attorneys, we have software companies, we have people that provide tools. We have people that will help with websites, people that will provide services to ERA that we list on our website. They're sort of trusted resources that if a member is interested in having some help with their website, they would contact directly with the company outside of the purview of ERA. We don't get a commission or anything like that, but we try to link our members with certainly experts, industry experts in the field. So that really is what we do, the membership that we have, and it's all sort of defined on our website. We spent a lot of time and precious money upgrading our website. We have video on our website now. We never had that. I mean, we're a small not-for-profit trade association, but our team has really done a lot of great work to make sure that we're in the 21st century, not circa 1985. And it really has really been a great tribute to the team that we have.
Yeah, and I can tell you with my experience, even though I'm really forward to technology, you guys have done a great job. And not just the value you bring, what you do, the awareness to all the areas, just like you hit all the points from the rep side, distribution, manufacturers, all the value you bring and resources that companies look for in this industry. Really, where are they going? Because you need that type of mentorship, you need that type of guidance. And it doesn't matter what business we are, there are associations in every type of industry, but for electronics, as I said, sometimes we say we're the biggest hidden secret of what we do in the hardware. We are the hardware of the base of the components, and really these associations really bring value of the direction, how to scale, how to get people, how to build awareness, and the networking. As one thing that as I said, is that you mentioned is the networking of the ERA is very powerful. From firsthand experience, I went to your ERA. The show, which we'll get onto in a second, is like, and the networking there was priceless. The people that I met, hands-on, how we introduced, it was great. And now I'm taking that with me, even though I met those persons now we're more connected. We connected digitally, and I build awareness with the top C-level executives, presidents, CEOs. And it's really good to know and bounce ideas off, because as I said, we only grow together. And as the hashtag, the stronger together for 2021 moving forward from there. But which that takes me to ERA and how has ERA been affected in a pandemic, and especially now going into 2021 for the conference, which I know is a big announcement for that coming. What is the direction right now for the ERA conference for February? And really, what are you guys developing and modifying for 2021?
Mm-hmm. Well, we really labored over the decision. We're all creatures of our own humanness. We all like to meet people. We all like to get out. We like to, rub shoulders with old friends, with customers, reps, manufacturers, distributors, competitors. But when COVID hit, we've been keeping an eye on the state of Texas. Our conference is at the UT campus in Texas. We were really keeping an eye on CES. That was sort of our bellwether to see what CES was going to do, because it's about 2 months before our conference in Vegas. When they pivoted to a virtual conference, it kind of began to have us thinking about, can we have a conference in person in Texas? We've been working with the AT&T Center. It's on the campus of University of Texas. They were closed up until about a month ago. They've reopened, but they've told us that if we had an in-person conference, they'd have to enforce social distancing. They'd have to enforce masks. So when you leave your hotel room, mask on, and you don't take it off till you get back in the hotel room. Speakers would wear masks. No opening welcome cocktail party, no gym, no bar, box lunch food. We could still pull it off, but we didn't know what the state of Texas would be, what the state of the University of Texas would be, because UT is tied to the state. And if UT decides to not have classes and they go remote, then the conference would be canceled. We could have faced that sort of the first or second week of February, with 2 weeks before the conference, to be told you can't have the conference, you can't come. So we started about a month ago looking at virtual sites. So we have pivoted, and we're announcing officially today to the world that we're going virtual. So what does that mean? None of us have run a virtual conference. We're gonna strap on our knapsacks, and we're gonna give this a great effort. We're gonna put on a great virtual conference. We are looking at different platforms. We got some very smart people that work at ERA. We've got people, frankly, like yourself, Rob, on the committee that have great experience. We've got 59 people that are volunteers on our committee. You talk about the networking. You're on the committee as a rep in Texas, and you're on the same committee with the vice president of sales for a manufacturer or the VP of worldwide sales for a distributor. And that's the networking. You get to know people by being on these committees. So we've pivoted to a virtual conference. We're going to have it the same days in Texas, March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. We'll probably extend it a third day to make sure that we give good content. You know, the rule of thumb would be, you want, my own mind would say, we want to have the conference fewer days to not interrupt on people's schedules. Well, the fact of the matter is, if you don't want to interrupt on people's schedules, you want to have it in more days. You spread it out, so it's not, we don't want people sitting at a computer for 8 hours. So we'll be announcing over the next couple of weeks the schedule, but we are very excited now that we've pivoted to a virtual to plan for this and put on a real great conference and learn from it, to show the world that little ERA, you know, the engine that could, that we can put on a virtual conference. We're not this staid old 85-year-old association that is stuck in 1985. We are the electric horsemen of the industry, and we're gonna put on a great conference. So watch us.
Yeah,
help us.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's why I am so excited for ERA, and that's the experience I had. You guys were first class in February, and I don't doubt that next February, even a virtual world, you guys will be first class. You know, you guys had technology, you had the apps, the breakout sessions, you had everything digital from the handheld. You can choose the classes you wanted the breakout sessions you want, the keynote speakers. It was innovative. You have pictures, so, you know, I've been to a lot of conferences. You know, some are digital connected, or they try to be, but they're not. But as the smaller, as you just like you said, the engine that could, you guys really pivoted and you guys implemented technology, had that experience. And when I walked away in February from the show, actually myself and my team were like, that was fantastic. And then the number one thing that is why it was fantastic, because I think we, as I talked to you before, we participated, we had engagement, there was back and forth discussions, there was creativity, there was, at the end of the day, there was a lot of ideas and creativity to work of what are we doing. And all the breakout sessions were fantastic, how you guys set them out. And now being involved of how that's put together, I can see all the behind the scenes work with, you know, the 50, 60 of the people doing it for free from, as I said, distribution manufacturers, all putting in their time to help execute a great event to be able to bring people together and make the industry more powerful and evolve and move forward. So I'm very fortunate that you have me a part of that, and as much as I can do to help you go virtual, as we're all, this is unprecedented. Virtual is unprecedented. You know, so how are we going to execute virtual, keep people engaged, as we talked about yesterday? How to keep them engaged, how to keep live, how to keep the interactivity, because as we all know, we kind of we go over and over. So I think that creativity, and over the next few months, I think we can really together share information and really take it to the next level to make sure ERA 2021 is going to be bigger and better, even virtual, and create more awareness for the industry and for the association to bring in new eyes, new talent to move forward.
You know, it's interesting, Rob, you're talking about the virtual conference.
Yeah.
We've had the technology for video conferencing for 25, 30 years. And all of us in our careers had maybe a video camera, maybe had a setup that we had spent, you know, tens of thousands of dollars on. And if somebody said before February or March, hey, I'd like to do a video call with you, you kind of look at them a little bit crazy. What, a video call? It was kind of a little bit creepy. I mean, the distributor I worked for, we had video conferencing in every branch, and corporate had them. You never used it. COVID hit, and in 2 weeks, the world pivoted to video conferencing. So it's amazing how all that happened. What we're instructing our members is don't lose this. Don't go back to be a buggy whip salesperson when COVID ends, because not only are you learning new ways of doing things, your customers are learning new ways of doing things. They may embrace, they've already told us that we consider a video call the same as an in-person call. Face-to-face is face-to-face. You don't have to drive an hour and a half to come see me, Rob. We could do a face-to-face call on video. And that's something that we hope all of us take into when COVID hopefully ends sooner than later. We take the new ways of doing things into our new abnormal world, which is what we're calling it.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's why you are the visionary and leader of ERA. That is perfect, well said. Exactly what you need to do is we need to not only embrace the change and pivot and lean into it and move forward. Do not wait for things to change back to normal. We're never going, don't worry about the history past. We're going forward and keep moving forward and evolving and using technology to its advantage. And it's just going to get bigger and better. And of course, we get past this pandemic. Yeah, things travel, open up, things will open up. But the efficiency that we've learned in the last 6 months of how efficient we can be without having, interpersonal traveling, it's mind blowing. It's like, wow. I couldn't get a lot of work done. I get a lot more work done than traveling for a meeting, spending a day of travel for a meeting for 2 hours and traveling back another day and losing those 2 days. These are types of things that I think we're learning. Of course, you cannot replace in-person meetings. There's no replacement, but there could be 50% of the meetings that could be done virtually, which will save a lot of time and efficiency and money for people and companies, in the long term.
We try to emulate the great statesman, the great salesperson, Wayne Gretzky, who used the saying that you want to skate where the puck is going. Yeah. You don't want to skate where the puck is, because the time you get there, it's gone. And if we as an organization continue to try to anticipate where the puck is going and be there when the puck gets there, then you'll be a winner. And sometimes you skate in the wrong direction, but if you can continue to skate where the puck, where you think it's going to be going, rather than wait for somebody to tell you where it's going, you'll continue to be a success in your own company or in life.
Exactly. Thank you for that wisdom again. But moving forward, taking a step back, I wanted to bring in, as I said, to bring in new talent and new eyes and the new generation. I wanted to discuss Spark and what is Spark and how is ERA a part of Spark and how is that working?
So it's a great question. So Spark is an initiative that was set up and funded by the EDS Show Corporation. So EDS, every year we have different people that come. And we realized as an industry that we need to continue to find, hire, train, motivate, manage, incentivize people to come into the industry, but more importantly, to stay in the industry. So this program was set up by EDS. So ERA co-runs the EDS show with ECIA. So we funded the Spark program, and it was meant to be for people that are 3 to 5 years in the industry. Some of them could be older. They just joined the industry when they were 30, 35, 40 years old, but 3 to 5 years of experience in the industry. We get them into the EDS show. We put them through 3 or 4 days of their own training. Some of us go and speak about the industry to the Spark students. So not only was Spark successful, but they had Spark 1.0. They've just developed Spark 2.0 and then Spark 3.0. So 2.0 was supposed to be held at the EDS show this past May. We didn't have EDS. It was then supposed to be conducted at the ECIA conference in October in Chicago. They've had to cancel due to the COVID. So we said, well, we could host Spark at our conference in February. So we're hoping to invite the Spark attendees virtually to give them their own platform and give them their own booth, if you will, a virtual booth, to continue to encourage people to come in and stay in the industry and have them really develop their own network of what we call high pots, high potential people in the organizations. There's a couple hundred people that have gone through Spark, and it really has been a big success as some of the reps begin to learn more about the distributors, some of the distributors learn more about the manufacturers, but it really is an initiative funded and founded by EDS to help attract and keep younger people in our industry.
All right, great. So for a younger, person coming in industry, what are your words of wisdom for someone that's newbie or 1-2 years about this dynamic industry? What type of words do you have to say? Statement you have to say for them?
Well, I'm not an engineer. I tell people my double E is English and economics. So if you're a double E, you certainly have a big advantage and you know the technology. But the industry is certainly open to business majors that can do supply chain. There's operations, there's logistics, there's warehousing, there's any field any background that you have as a college graduate, there's a job in our industry for you. But come into the industry and ask questions, get out of your comfort zone. So I never wanted to be a salesperson. I took a chance. Somebody took a chance on me. I never would have put my hand up to be that salesperson. But try to get out of your comfort zone. There's so much opportunity in different areas of a big company. So if you're in purchasing, go into sales. If you're in sales, go into logistics. If you're in logistics, go into marketing. Get out of your comfort zone and continue to try to learn from the companies that have hired you and have taken a chance on you. I'm not suggesting you start jumping around in different jobs, but there is a great opportunity. But ask questions, learn, and move out of your comfort zone as you continue to. I'm in this job 2 years. Okay, I'm ready for a change. Don't leave the company. Go to the company and say, listen, I'd like to go into something else. What do you have? Companies aren't clairvoyant. They didn't know you were unhappy being in marketing. And all of a sudden you give your notice, you're going to leave. Why don't you tell me? I have an opening in sales. I didn't know you wanted to be in sales. So the company is treating you well, treat them well, and go to them and ask them to continue to move you around and get great experience. Move your cheese, I think, was the old saying of years ago. Continue to grow and develop.
And I ditto that statement. The fear of getting uncomfortable. Get uncomfortable, learn. It's an exciting industry. A lot's happening. You're right. It's a 360 solution. There's so many different departments in our industry, so many different things you get involved in. To learn the full solution, in my opinion, you need to know, to be successful in this industry, you really need to know all the moving parts. So getting that is for the first 2 to 3 to 4 years, understanding the full picture allow you to, if you be successful in sales or marketing or engineering, to understand how it all works and understand where the products are. So I really ditto that. And that's exactly how I also try to inspire the new people coming to our company and people out there when I talk to for the leadership and thought leadership. Be curious. At the end of the day, be curious, ask questions. Right. So now moving forward to what is you right now, as you know, sales and marketing has really changed. So in the digital world, I know ERA has been trying to push that, but really, what do you see some of the positives and some of the challenges facing the change of reps and distribution, sales and marketing efforts into a digital world?
Well, it's a great question. It's a kind of complicated answer. Our customers, back when I was carrying a bag, when the earth was cooling, customers would give you a quote. You would bring the quote in. It might take a couple of days to work the quote. You bring the pricing back in. They would wait to get pricing from distributor A, B, and C to match it. And it was all manually done. Today, the buyers today have instant access to worldwide pricing right away with a click. So they know the worldwide pricing through the internet. So when you come in and you're saying, hey, my price is 32 cents, they know if that's a good price or not because they know the price in Shenzhen. You're in Southern California, you're in Boston, and you got that from your corporate people. So there's people want instant gratification with information. Think about our own world.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to go book an airline ticket, you wouldn't call American Airlines to fill out some form on a website and say, I want to go to Philadelphia and I want to go next Tuesday, and someone's going to get back to you. You want to be able to book it and get into instant gratification now. So the distributors, I think, all have excellent, excellent systems. They can provide that online, real-time stock. I think where some of the reps have struggled in that in their small companies, they all have websites. Some of the websites, they probably figured, I just want to be just good enough to have a website that people will be able to get information from. But you want to have a website that reflects your digital image, a website that's connected to your manufacturers with hyperlinks to your manufacturers, perhaps hyperlinks to your distributors, to be able to provide instant gratification to your customers. If a customer wants to know information about ABX capacitors and I'm the rep, they want to go to our website and get the information. If we shift them off to the ABX website, that's okay, but at least they came to me and I can capture the information. So the digital world, it's taken a lot of the personal interface out, and that's probably okay with all the mundane stuff. But when a customer then calls you to say, hey, I need some help, I need some guidance, I can look at this product A, product B, which one should I design in? You have to be able to give them the best information right away. So it's a challenge for many of the reps to do this, on the instant gratification, but most of them know they have to become part of the digital world. Most of them know that they have to get a lot better at linking to their manufacturers and their distributors, and because the customers have no patience. No patience.
I cannot agree more with everything you said there. It is the simplicity, making it simple, and it's bringing value with a solution at the same time. And at the end of the day, it's not just all about selling anymore. It's about bringing value and awareness with simplicity of how do I find the solution or product in it. And it's funny, go to a website, why do I have to click so many spots? And just like you nailed this, like distributors, some of the big distributors have these Goliath of websites. They spend a lot of money. But when you go down to the rep model, yeah, they don't have all those big funds to create these Goliaths of a website, but they can create the image that they're connected. They have awareness, they have information, they have news, they have things that they're a resource. And just don't point them to the manufacturer, be a resource for them, right, and create simplicity of getting to their answer of a data sheet or information about a product or technology that they need. And that is, I agree, that is missing right now a little bit in the industry with that between the manufacturer, distribution, and rep. That whole synergy is changing. That model is evolving. It's evolving continuously, especially in this pandemic, it's evolving. And we all need to move forward, as just you said, and build the pathway and to start investing in the digital presence, digital salesmanship, digital, as I say, LinkedIn right now is the most popular for our things, connecting with your customers, and not just sharing stuff, but building value of what this means and what it will do for the end customer's product or what type of solution it will bring.
Right. And to be fair to the reps, many of them are small companies.
Yeah.
They don't have a tens of thousands of dollars budget for websites. Manufacturers do, the distributors generally do. So we're trying to help them in that area by giving them an opportunity to look at some cost-effective solutions to provide some of the needs in the digital world without cratering their budget.
Yeah, I mean, that's well said, well said. And what I want to add to when we get to the end of this is something that I was really inspired, and something that was given and shown to the ERA show last year was the inception of the Walter Tobin Bridge Award, right? Everything you've gone through today is bridging the gap between the manufacturer, distributor, representative, and everything we hit today was so eloquently said. You hit the nail of innovating, of bridging it, bringing people together, creating awareness. And I can see why this award was created and given to you. And my hat's off to you for what you do and everything you do for ERA, all the members, and the industry in general.
Thank you. Thank you.
No,
I was very touched.
Right now, again.
there actually is a Tobin Bridge in Boston that is a real bridge, but I was very touched and frankly surprised, and probably one of the few times in my life speechless when they gave me that award. I was very touched.
I was touched too. I was emotional because your family was there. It's
Right.
something, and
Right.
it's when it's, we all work so hard these days and we all go through
Right.
things. And sometimes we don't look back of what we've accomplished and the path we've laid and for other people, inspiring, being a leader and showing people the way and giving them opportunity. So that's really where it comes down to. So as we're ending the show, I want to get some words of wisdom. And what is your look for the future in the electronic industry? And what can you give the words of wisdom out there for everybody watching today?
Well, I think, the pace of change will accelerate. I think COVID was a tipping point that caused so many different things that maybe would have taken place over time. Maybe the whole video, Zoom, and all that. Maybe that would have taken place. Maybe not. Um, my sense is that we're all citizens of the industry. I think we all need to help each other. And I'm not saying to share information with your competition and all that, but to help each other, to have the distributors and reps work closer together, to have the manufacturers provide more support to the reps and to the distributors, have the customers recognize that the service they get from the distributor is not just the lowest price. We talked years ago about the total cost of ownership, and base your decision not just on price, but the value. What's the on-time delivery? What's the supply chain? What's the level of bonded inventory that the distributor has? There's so many times that, there's a saying, the most expensive item a buyer has on his bill of materials is the one he doesn't have. And so if you don't have the item, and then it creates all sorts of disruption to the supply chain when they try to go off script and try to find it on the gray market, the excess market. So I would say, be a good corporate citizen, reach out, help people, mentor younger people. They're the future of the industry. And certainly, I think together we'll be stronger. We'll get through this COVID situation, but let's not all of us hold our cards so close to the vest. Every once in a while, show your cards and say, this is how we can help each other. And without being naive, listen, we're all competitors, but we need to work together to get through this as an industry.
I kind of agree. I want to thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
I agree. You cannot know. There's unprecedented things can come up every year, and we have to work through them. And we are stronger, stay strong, and work together because we all have the same mission. We will grow together. As I said, we have to share IP, but we will grow together. We'll be stronger together and get past the little pitfalls. As myself, I'm really sharing, things of marketing, putting people out there and telling everybody's story, as everybody does have a story. And that's how we build, branding, connection, human connection, especially today where we cannot connect like we used to. So telling the story and telling the origins, where companies came from, distribution reps, this is really what people do. They connect with. Not everybody's, fit for everybody. Not everybody's going to like me, but not everybody's going to like everybody else. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I am, I am a good percentage of that. And that's who I want to go to. And if I can inspire them and as well bring you on and you being inspiration, you telling your story of ERA, what you've gone through, gives people, the younger generation, thoughts like, okay, I can do this. Look at what's going on. Look at the industry. This is evolving and it's exciting. Things are changing and we're just at the beginning of everything.
Right. Amen.
Yeah. So once again, thank you, Walter, for your time. I really appreciate it. And as I always leave all my podcasts, be smart, be thoughtful, be generous. Thank you all. Thank you, Walter. And I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.